Okay, so we've got 6 people watching. I'm going to go ahead and start because I have things to do. So how is everybody tonight? I'm wondering if you're doing well. So today was I feel like another long kind of tedious day in court because, and I'm sitting in my bed right now doing this because, hey, that's what I'm doing, right? I'm sitting here in my bed. So here I am. I am here to tell you about what we saw today. Obviously, because of Judge Deering's restrictions, there's only so much we can show you. But, that's unfortunate because we don't, as I've said many times, we do not show photographs of bodies on TV. We do not show autopsy photos. That is not what we do. We do show photos sometimes that do have blood in them because I think we were pretty judicious about this. It tells the story. Some of these photos are very important, but Judge Deering said that we couldn't show photos that have blood in them. So we've never had that restriction placed on us before. Sometimes some photos are too gory that we don't show them. And that's what we do. We don't show pictures that are too graphic, and all of this is graphic. It's horrible. So basically we had BCI agent Shane Hanshaw on the stand today. He finished up his testimony. He helped, process and was there and present when Chris Roden Sr.'s trailer was processed, 4077 Union Hill Road. And he talked about, in his prior testimony on Friday, about some of the shelf casings and bullet fragments that were recovered from that scene. They searched outside. They also searched inside. There was a second, and, there was talk about the marijuana plants. They showed a photo today of DVR cables that had been disconnected. There's no DVR attached to these cables. A lot of people are questioning, why are they showing this? Well, it's important because the prosecution claims they found a burned DVD or DVR on the Wagner property. So that is one thing that is going to be important in this case. They also swabbed, and this is important, George Wagner IV's former lawyer, Chuck Knight, had said in court way back when this happened, it was the day I believed he said that George IV was spending time in his cell alone, reading his Bible. He said that Chuck Knight said back then, and he's no longer on the case, that there was no DNA implicating George in this case. That doesn't matter. There are a lot of cases where there isn't any DNA. And if you take steps to not leave DNA, and if you didn't handle things, just because you handle something doesn't mean there will be DNA on it. But sometimes when you do handle something for just a matter of seconds, depending on how much you shed, some people shed better or more easily than others. Some people do leave DNA. So, George Wagner IV's side contends that he didn't commit these homicides. He wasn't there, that he wasn't a part of this. They contend that Jake did it all, that it was Billy's idea to kill the Rodens, and that Jake pulled the trigger on all 8 victims. Jake has admitted to killing 5 of them on his own and, shooting a 6th, according to what the prosecution has said. Quite clearly, the defense is suggesting that this was all Jake and Billy and Angela, and that Jake killed all 8, but it was Billy's idea, as I said, and that George, that he was falsely kind of implicated in this by both Jake and Angela, especially Jake. They've basically said that's where they're going with this. They're going to say that Jake's statement is self-serving and a lie, at least some of it. So they're laying the groundwork for that. Obviously, we only know what Angela is going to testify to. She wasn't there that night, but she was there when they left, according to the prosecution. And so Angela, as you know, will get out after serving 30 years. Jake is in prison for the rest of his natural life. So we saw today, and we knew this, we had heard this, we knew it, but I don't think we'd really reported much on it because there's a difference between being able to corroborate something and between knowing it. And I think Leonard Manley may have told us way back when that Chris had money in his safe. We had also heard through the grapevine that they opened the safe and there was all this money in it. Chris Sr. had a very big safe on one wall of his bedroom. And Gary and Chris's bodies, there's no delicate way to put this, were kind of piled on top of each other in front of the safe. A smaller safe was missing out of the closet, according to what we had heard earlier in the trial. The cops opened the safe and there were a ton of guns in there. There were long guns, there was a revolver, there were all kinds of things, different types of guns. And I put these on my Twitter page. I took screen grabs of them. There were also drugs. There's a bag of drugs in there with a bag of rice. People are like, why is there a bag of rice in there? Rice absorbs moisture. So that could have been put in there as some sort of kind of dehumidifying type thing. I don't 100% know that, but I know that rice is used to absorb moisture. So there were drugs in there. They said there was more than $20,000 in cash in the safe. So that was discussed. There was also some discussion, and I need to go back and listen to it again, about a revolver, a certain type of revolver. So I thought that was interesting. I'm going to have to go back and listen to the cross of this agent Fortner, who was the second agent on the stand today. So he was really the one that talked about the opening of the safe and all of that. And I think there was discussion about trajectory, and John Parker was asking, well, when you're doing this and you're doing this 3D scan and these images and all of this stuff and the trajectory, like what time of day are you doing this? It was a sunny day, right? Yeah, it was a sunny day, but what was the light like when the homicides were committed? Well, obviously the homicides were committed sometime between 10:30 at night and 11:30 at night, more than likely, at least at Chris Sr.'s house. What were the lighting conditions? So they're going to be calling that into question, I assume too, that there's, they're going somewhere with this. So yeah, so basically drugs in the safe, lots of guns in the safe. So the defense is building towards something. I just need to know exactly what it is. And I feel like I'm piecing it together bit by bit. Obviously they're going to say that Jake's statement was self-serving and that parts of it are a straight up lie. John Patrick Parker had already said in a motion to the court sometime in the past, I don't remember exactly when, that basically he had said in this motion that Jake said to the investigators, to the prosecutors, I assume, in his proffer, that George only went along at the last minute, fearing that Billy would kill Jake at the end of the night. So George's people are saying, no, he didn't even go. This was all Jake and Billy's thing. And Jake's the one that did all the murders. I'd assume Angela's going to say they all three left that night. So we're going to have to piece it together and figure out the truth. Also, another big interesting thing that happened. There were some documents filed with the court in which Jake and Angela, their attorneys, have agreed that Jake and Angela's jail privileges should be suspended until after they testify, meaning they can't watch the news, so they can't watch what's going on in the trial. They can't talk on the phone. So there's an effort to keep them from speaking to people, to learning what's going on in the trial. They can't really separate them per se. They're in jail. But they always like to have these witnesses not know what the other people are testifying to. It's called separation of witnesses. So that's the only way they can really do it. They're preventing Jake and Angela from watching the news. part of that, I'm assuming, is so they can say their testimony is pristine. It's pure. They've already said that Jake and Angela's stories corroborate one another. They said that when both pleaded guilty, and that's the reason they didn't turn over their, Jake's statement right away to the others, to Billy and George's attorneys, so that they could see which ones corroborated one another. So, yeah. Hash Brown's saying, I wonder what happened to the $400,000 that Chris had. I don't know about $400,000. I had always heard that he had a lot of cash. He kept a lot of cash. He had a lot of cash. I don't know about 400,000. I always heard it was more than 30,000. Today, they said it was more than 20,000, they believed, and that money was counted elsewhere at the sheriff's office, and that it was put into a safe deposit box. So there you go. Yes, Patty, it was a white-handled revolver. And I'm glad you said that, because I thought that's what they said. And I thought they said it was pearl-handled. But also, I was busy working when this was going on, and I'm trying to do a couple of things at once while keeping an ear on it and still doing things. So I was a little bit confused. BCBE says, the thing is, I haven't heard them say they've found any of the Wagner's DNA anywhere, have they? No, and that's not unusual necessarily. There are a lot of murder cases where you don't have somebody's DNA. And if there wasn't a struggle, I mean, we haven't heard much about a struggle. Maybe I don't think there was. You're not going to have necessarily DNA. Let's see. Looking at your other questions. So there you have it, guys. That's all I can tell you about that happened today. Crime scene, people who processed or collected evidence and processed the crime scenes. So there will be more to come. Hash Brown says, I believe it was Brett Hellfield or Luke R. What are you talking about, Hash Brown? So sorry. I'm kind of scanning here to see what you guys are talking about. Yeah, I need to learn more about the significance of the white-handled revolver. I don't know where they're going with that, but I need to go back and listen to it again. So I wanted to bring you guys up to speed. I wish things were different. It's really upsetting to me that we haven't been able to bring you at least the audio. This is the biggest murder investigation in Ohio history, and we should be able to bring you this uninterrupted, gavel to gavel. People should have confidence that this case, was handled properly. They should be able to see and hear. If a witness wants to object to being shown, we should at least be able to use the audio, as we've been permitted to do in any other case in Ohio, at least any other case I've covered in Ohio, and I've covered many of them. This is not 1985. Okay. This is not how people live anymore. A lot of people don't have time to go down to the courthouse and watch these things, and they just catch snippets on the news. And, the defense has filed, whenever they've responded to anything having to do with us, they've been very angry. And frankly, they're doing themselves a disservice. They're doing the public a disservice. So I just have to say that. And really, this ruling by the court to not allow the audio, if, we should at least be permitted to use the audio. Obviously, it's the witness's choice. And some of them, I understand why they're not doing this, or why they don't want to be shown. I get that. But at least permit us to use the audio, as I said, as we've done in every other case in Ohio. Yeah, let me look and see. Brett didn't say Chris had $400,000 at the time that happened. Yeah, I don't know about, because Brett Hatfield's testimony wasn't shown, and I had to work from home that day. Some days I'm working from home, some days I'm not. Yeah, there was, Hash Brown, there was the small safe, but I don't know anything about, I've never heard the figure $400,000. So there will be more testimony tomorrow, guys. I hope I've been able to help you. I will obviously answer any question anybody has, or help them understand, the evidence more clearly, or where I think things are going, because I'm pretty good at piecing that stuff together. Sometimes things come up and you're like, why are they showing that? What's the relevance? And then it becomes relevant later. So that always happens. So I will go ahead and hang up now. Everybody, have a good night, and we'll see you another time. And take care. Bye.